Today we have a special guest, Thomson Philip, who met and had a lunch with Pope Francis. He is here with us in our studio, in DVN's studio. Let us welcome him for sharing his experience with Pope, and may God bless you.
Thomson, tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is Thomson. I am from India, from South India, a state called Kerala. I've been here for 4 years, and in Wellington, I work for Ministry of Social Development as a business intelligence consultant. And in my family, I have father, mother, one brother, and 2 sisters, and I'm the eldest.
Okay. What made you decide to go to World Youth Day in Brazil?
I always wanted to go for World Youth Day, but I couldn't afford it for a long time. And this time, since God gave me a very good job, I could afford to go, and that's why I decided to go for the World Youth Day.
Now, you got an invitation from the Pope to have lunch with him. Tell me, how did that happen?
That was not planned at all. I just got an email on 16th midnight saying that, Thomson, you have been invited to have lunch with the Holy Father. So if you're available on that date, please confirm your availability. Yes, that was a surprise. That was a true gift from God.
How did you feel when you got that email in?
As any of you will feel, the same thing I felt. I didn't believe at first, and it was a shock for me. And as an IT engineer, I always know about the spam emails and junk emails, things that will say you won $1 million, or you inherit the name of a prince in some African country, and he died, and we are going to transfer the money to you. So we get a lot of emails like that. So initially I thought this is something like that. I couldn't believe it. And my name is Thomas, so I'm always doubting Thomas. But I did all the tests that's possible to determine whether the IP address is correct, or whether the email is original. So I did that, and then I have to believe that this is right email. The next day I called the lady who sent me the email. That was from a lady called Christina. So that was the contact details given in that email. So I've called her, and she told me this is real and you are invited.
So what happened next?
We have to confirm our availability, and then we have to go and collect the ID card, and do a lot of tests and things like that. So we have to do all those things, and on 26th we have to be there early morning to do all the police clearance and security checks before the lunch.
Now, you weren't allowed to tell anybody.
Yeah, it was quite confidential. In the email it was clearly mentioned you are not supposed to post it on Facebook or Twitter or any of the social media, or even your family. So that was quite confidential. That's why I couldn't even tell my parents or to my parish priest.
What about the other members of the group?
Until the lunch started, we didn't know who others were.
Okay.
It was totally confidential. Yeah, I didn't know how many members are going to be coming for the lunch, or where they are from and who they are. We just came to know about each other just before the lunch started. After the security check, we were asked to go to a separate room and take rest there, and that's when we met all others.
Okay. What was the conversation like with you and the others? Were you all asking the same question, or all nervous?
Yeah, we were all nervous, and we were praying rosary, and we had a good conversation, and we asked each other where they are from. That's when we realized that we are from different parts of the world. There was a girl from Russia. She was quite nervous, and the girl from America, she was also very nervous, and there was a girl from Colombia. There was a guy from Sri Lanka, one guy from Argentina. So we started to pray a rosary for the Pope and for ourselves, that we shouldn't be nervous. Yeah.
Then you were taken into the room where you were to have lunch?
Yes. Just before the lunch, the 12 o'clock, a priest came and asked us to move to the main dining room. That's when we saw the dining room for first time. Yeah.
And you also were standing around the table waiting for the Pope to arrive?
Yes, we were asked to stand around the table. There was Archbishop. He came and told us to, stand in each position, and we were waiting for the Pope. And Pope arrived in like 5 minutes time. Yeah.
What happened when he arrived? Were you the first in the line for him to greet?
Yeah, fortunately I was the first. Again, I think it's another blessing from God. So he came to me and asked, "What's your name?" He asked in Spanish. I didn't understand what he was saying, so there was a translator. The Archbishop, he translated that for me. He's asking, "What's your name?" I told him, "My name is Thomson Philip, I am from New Zealand." Then he told me, "I don't speak English." And he asked me, "Do you speak Spanish?" No, I said no. So I don't speak English. So if you speak English, talk very slow. Very, very slow.
Okay.
So then we had a conversation about how long it took me to reach here. Then a lot of different things. He asked me like for 1 minute. So then he moved to the next person.
What kind of person is he, when he speaks? Is he quiet, his voice is quiet, or a strong voice?
His voice is strong, but he's a very friendly person, very humble, down to earth. Even though he is the Pope, he will never make us feel that he is superior to us. He's so humble that he will come down to our level. That's the best thing about our Pope, and we should all learn from him how to be humble.
So then you all took your seats around the table?
Yes.
Yeah. And then what happened?
Before we sat down, Pope said the grace and blessed the food and gave us a blessing. And then we sat down around the table. Then we started to have food. And before we start to have food, the nuns came and asked Pope what wine you like, white wine or red wine. Then Pope told, "Give me just juice, I don't drink wine." So that was quite inspirational for us, because the Pope, he was offered the best wine in the world and he didn't drink. So without telling us, you don't drink, you don't take alcohol, he gave us an example then. So then we had food, and the main part of the lunch was the conversation, not the food. Many people asked me what was the food you had, but I can't remember what was the food. The names were in Spanish. The food was really good, but we were not concentrating on the food, but about the holy person we were sitting with.
Did you even chew your food? Or you too nervous? You
Initially,
just swallowed it.
Initially, we were very nervous, and all of us, we were holding the glass, and we were like shivering like this. And Pope was seeing that, and he told us, "Don't be nervous. I'm just a Pope. I'm just one like you."
So what was the conversation like after that?
He asked us, "Why are you nervous?" Then one of the guy,
Yes.
he told us, "We don't have lunch with Holy Father every day, so that's why we are nervous, and that's why we couldn't speak." Then to make us comfortable, he started to speak. He started to talk about his experience dealing with young people and about his work among the young people in his parish. He told us he didn't belong to any big movements or any organizations, but he just worked among the young people within his parish and within his community, and he concentrated on spreading the hope and love of Christ among all the young people.
And there was also some questions you and the others asked him?
Yeah, we were given chance to ask him questions, and he was very patient, and he spoke to us with great authority in answering all our questions. And I was able to ask him the first question. So the question I asked him, "Pope Francis, how to be a Catholic in the present world, holding the traditions?" So he told us the answer, and it's a very important message. He told us Christ is present, and traditions are history, and the future is there for us, and future is full of hope. So you live in the present with Christ, forget about the traditions, which is history, and be hopeful about the future.
So what were some other questions you asked the Pope?
Yeah, all of us got a chance to ask questions, and I remember a few of the questions they asked. And there was a girl who asked Pope about vocation. She asked, Pope Francis, is it true that if I become a nun, then only my heart belongs to Christ? He said, no, all of our heart belongs to Christ. Okay, and he had given us responsibilities. And if we fulfill that responsibilities, then our heart completely belongs to Christ. It doesn't need to be a nun or a priest, but even all of our heart belongs to Christ if we do our responsibilities, whatever Christ asked us to do. And the second question, another question, guy asked about how do we serve Christ? Then Pope Francis told us, you don't have to worry about what you are going to do for Christ or how you are going to do. When the time comes, Christ will surprise you. He gave us an example. You never know that you're going to have lunch with Holy Father when you arrived here, but Christ surprised you, and now he gave you a responsibility to spread the message of love and hope among all the young people. So that's how Christ will surprise you. But always be prepared and be ready to do all the small things that you can do in your parish and in your community. That's all he asked us to do. And there was another question about how to work among the young people. So he told us, you don't wait until a person or a young person is completely converted, but include him and make him a part of all the activities that you do in your parish. Let him see your testimonial and change automatically. Give him time. And he also told us, young person without hope is a patient or sick. So all we have to do is to spread the hope of Christ among the young people. And that's very important.
That's so true, those messages. And so you're now going around New Zealand or around the parish here at the moment, spreading those messages that the Pope gave.
Yes, that's a responsibility our Holy Father gave me, and gave all those who were present for the lunch to spread these messages. And I take it as my responsibility. And I would like to go around all the parishes in New Zealand, and if God allows, around the world, to spread this message.
So did the Pope ask any questions?
During our initial meeting, he asked me a personal question. How did you receive your Catholic faith? So I told him, I received my Catholic faith from my grandparents, and they used to tell me stories about saints and from Bible and about Christ, and that's how I got my Catholic faith. He was very happy about the answer. He told that today is the feast of Saint Anne and Joachim, the grandparents of Mother Mary, and he told us about the importance of grandparents in our lives, and he also told us about his grandparents. And later on, during the lunch, after he answered all our questions, he started to ask us questions, and his questions made us think and weep. The questions that he asked us: why are you having lunch with the Holy Father when there are millions of kids and people starving for food in slums? Why are you here? And that question literally made all of us present there to weep. And that was such a strong message, and that was such a strong question. And he asked us few other questions. Why do you have good health when there are children born with dangerous or deadly diseases? Why do you have good education when there are people who can't even read or write? Why do you have all the good facilities when there are people who have nothing apart from their poverty. And we were all like silent. We couldn't give him any answer. He told us, don't give me an answer now, but try to find out the answers for these questions with your own life. And he told us, when you find the answer by yourself, you will realize that Christ loves you in a very special way. And because Christ loves you in a very special way, he had given you very special responsibilities. And then we asked, what are the responsibilities? He told, to take care of the remaining people, to take care of the people who are sick, who doesn't have education, who doesn't have food, who doesn't have shelter. You have the responsibility because Christ loved you and blessed you in a special way. You have to take care of them. That's the responsibility Christ gave you. And that's the strongest message about service and love that I got in my life.
And so now you're going around to parishes starting here in Wellington and most probably around New Zealand as well.
Yes, I've started to go to parishes and youth groups in Wellington, and I also received some invitations from other parts of New Zealand. I just need to try to accommodate all these programs along with my work. So, but I will spend all my time after work for this purpose.
Because you feel this is your responsibility.
Yes.
So what were some of the other messages or conversations the Pope had with you?
Pope told us about economics, about humanity, about life, social values, family values. So the first Pope told us about humanity and economics. He told us a story. He told us in the olden days when the Babel Tower was being constructed, when the bricks used to fall down and break, people used to make a lot of noise, and the authorities, they ill-treated the slaves just for breaking a brick. But if the same slave fall down from the top of the tower and he died or something serious happened to him, there was no one to worry about him. So he told us, in those days, a brick got more value than a human life. And the same thing is happening these days. There are many people who are dying without medicine, without food. But that's a very normal thing in our generation, in this world. But if there is a recession or the American stock exchange falls down, there's a lot of noise. People are worried. So there was a fall earlier, the brick fall down, there was noise. The stock exchange fall down and there's noise, but there is no value for human lives. So he told us, you never be an economist, but be a humanist. Always give preference for human values and human life. And next, he told us that both ends of lives are rejected these days. The society doesn't likes or doesn't needs people at both ends of the life. He mentioned about the young, the unborn, and the old people. We know about the abortions and what value society gives to a young person who doesn't have job, and also about the old people. He told us the society ignores or rejects people who are not earning money, people who are not productive, like the young person who doesn't have job. Society ignores them. They don't give them anything. They just ignore them. And society ignores the old person, old people, because they are not earning money anymore. He told us, you be the protectors of both ends of life. Every Catholic young person have the responsibility to take care of both ends of life. So that was another message. Then he also told us about the importance of personal counselors and confessors in our life. He told us it's very much required or needed to have a personal counselor to guide you throughout your life. So he asked us to find a person with the gift of counseling from God so that he can guide you in your life. He told us, even I'm just a Pope, I'm not Mr. Pope. Even I have a personal counselor and a personal confessor. So he invited us to have the same in our life. And he also told us about the importance of praying rosary and dedicating that for the intentions of Christ and for the Pope and for the entire church. He invited us to pray one Hail Mary and in our own language. So we were people from all around the world, and we were people who speak different languages like Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, English, and Tamil. There was a guy from Sri Lanka, he used to speak Tamil. So we were all saying rosary in different languages, and he told us, isn't it beautiful? And he invited us to pray rosary every day and to dedicate for the intentions of Pope. And he also told us to pray for me, pray for Pope. Yeah.
What other did you have any other conversation with him?
While he was giving each one of us gifts, at the end of the lunch he gave us gifts, and during then he blessed us, and he told me, you have big opportunity and you have big responsibility. That's the message he gave us. And at the end, the very end of the lunch, he invited us for another lunch with him. So we were all smiling and laughing. Another lunch? Yes, I can't tell you the time right now, but when the time comes, I want to have another lunch with you, the heavenly banquet. So he told us in a very simple way, the message is very strong. We have to live a holy life and we have to reach heaven. If we reach heaven, then only we can have the heavenly banquet. So he invited us to live a holy life and to reach heaven.
Yeah. How did you feel when you heard that message?
We were all laughing. Even the Pope was laughing. He was giving a very nice, cute smile. And when he told about this last message, he was smiling. And then he left the room. Yeah.
What did the Pope give you as gifts?
He gave me a rosary and a medal with his bust. That was a bronze medal. And I gave the rosary to my mother when I reached India. That's the first time she asked me for something. Can I have the rosary? And I said, yes, you can have it. And she told me, when you are going to have your own home, I will give it back to you. And since I gave the rosary to my mother, I didn't want my dad to feel bad. So I gave the medal to my dad.
You have met the Pope. You had lunch with him. You listened to his messages. He listened to you. It must have been a life-changing experience for you. What are you going to do now?
It's definitely a life-changing experience. The best thing that ever happened to me in my life. And it gives me, like Pope told me personally, you have big opportunities and big responsibilities. And I was waiting for God to tell me what I'm supposed to do. Like Pope Francis told me, when the time comes, Christ will surprise you. And he already surprised me. And Pope gave me responsibility to spread the love and hope of Christ among all the young people in this country. And during the conversation, he asked each one of us to tell him about our testimonial, what we have been doing for church and what are the activities that we do. During that time, I told Pope Francis that I used to work as a missionary in North India, helping the priest, then driving for the priest, teaching in poor schools, teaching the old people, and helping the priest in retreats and things like that. And Pope Francis was quite happy about that. And he told everyone, you have to involve with the society, with the people, like I did. That's how you get the feel, understand the people. That's how you will get to know what the people want and how they think. And then only you can work among them. And I was also able to tell him about the youth group that I belong to in New Zealand, about the Divine Youth Group, which is led by Father Verghese. And I told him about the prayer meetings that we conduct on every Friday, the adorations, and the good works of Divine Youth Group in New Zealand. So he gave us a blessing for the youth group here. Yes.
Oh, that's nice. What are some of your messages to the young people out there from what the Pope told you?
Yeah, I met the Pope and I don't want to add anything to what Pope said. He gave us the complete message for the present world and for the youngsters in our country and the entire world. He told us, don't try to do big things, but just to try to do the small things that's possible within your parish and within your local community. He told us to spread the love and hope of Christ among all the young people, because a person without hope is sick or patient. He asked us to be protectors of life. We have to save both ends of life. He asked us not to be an economist, but be a humanist. He also told us, be open to God's call and say like Samuel, Lord, speak Lord, for your servant is listening. See, he told us to be always open to the message from Christ and respond to that immediately. And he also told us to pray for Pope and to pray the Rosary. So these are the message from Pope that I would like to share with all the young people and to all the people who are watching this.
Thank you for watching this DVNZ production. I'm Christine Gounder signing off. Praise the Lord.